If you spend any amount of time considering your retirement plan, you know that the age that you select to retire has huge implications on the amount of benefits that you receive, the amount of taxes that you pay, and the options that are available to you. So if you're considering an early retirement, there are some huge milestone ages that unlock additional retirement benefits that you need to be aware of. And this isn't to say that an early retirement is impossible, but thoughtful planning is required to make sure that you get the most out of your retirement benefits. Hi, I'm Jordan Curnutt, a certified financial planner at Quantum Financial Planning. And today we're dissecting the 6 retirement age milestones that you need to know to get the most out of your retirement benefits. So we're kicking things off with a nice, awkward number, age 59 and a half. Yes, you heard that correctly. I don't know why the IRS picked it, to be honest with you. I guess they just like to keep us on our toes and use half years from time to time. It's just the way it is. But the importance of age 59 and a half is this is the earliest age that you can access your retirement funds penalty free. So that's one of the things I want to focus on here. Penalty free doesn't mean not accessible at all. That's a common misconception. A lot of folks think that as they're saving into their 401k or 403b, that they physically can't get to those assets until they turn age 59 and a half. Not the case. It just comes with a 10% penalty to get there early. So the types of accounts that these apply to: 401ks, 403bs, any of those workplace retirement plans. And then in addition to that, any of the more personal style of retirement plans like an IRA or a Roth IRA. So that's what age 59 and a half is all about. And there's a handful of ways that we can actually do some proactive planning to get around this age 59 and a half number. I'm not going to hit on all of them. I'm just going to give you the 3 that I see used most commonly. The first way to plan for an early retirement and not have age 59 and a half get in the way is to not do all of our retirement savings into retirement accounts. Being diversified in the types of accounts that we're saving for allows us to create income for ourselves before the age of 59 and a half and not have to deal with that 10% penalty that we have in those style of accounts. So that could be a high yield savings account. If you need a little bit more growth out of these dollars, we could look at something like a brokerage account that gives you access to stocks, bonds, ETFs, mutual funds, the whole gambit of investment options. But these types of accounts serve the purpose of providing income for you before that age of 59 and a half. The second way to plan around the age of 59 and a half is Section 72T. It's a portion of the IRS tax code called substantially equal periodic payments. It actually allows us access to an IRA, for example, before the age of 59 and a half without any penalty, as long as we follow a very specific set of rules. You talk to your financial advisor, you talk to your tax accountant, and make sure that you're dotting your I's and crossing your T's. It's not for everyone. It's going to be pretty restrictive in how you use it, but it's certainly a way that I've used with clients before to access those types of funds before age 59 and a half with no penalty. And the last way that I want to talk about is to pay the 10% early access fee. These funds aren't physically locked up. You can absolutely make a withdrawal from these accounts before age 59 and a half. It's just we're going to pay a little bit more. So not the ideal way to do it. It isn't how I would draw it up if I'm planning way in advance. But if you find yourself in a situation where you need to access these funds before 59 and a half, you absolutely can. The second age milestone that we're looking at today is the age of 62. Age 62 is the earliest age that you can access your Social Security. So before we get too carried away here, I want to talk about what that means, because yes, we can access Social Security, but that word early is pretty important here. Typically, the full retirement age for most folks now is age 67. It depends on the year that you're born. Way back when Social Security started, full retirement age was age 65. For most folks now, again, it's age 67. For some folks that haven't claimed yet, it will be 66 and a fraction of years. So look on your Social Security statement to see what full retirement age is for you. But going back to retiring early and doing a Social Security claim at age 62, one of the things you need to be aware of is that you're going to receive a reduced benefit. So an age 62 claim as compared to an age 67 full retirement age claim is about 70% of that full benefit. So just be aware, yes, you have access at 62, but it's also going to be less than what it would be if you waited. The other thing to remember is that an early Social Security claim has something called an earnings test associated with it. So if you earn more than $22,000 in the year that you file, you will have $1 deducted from your benefit for every $2 that you earn. That's a pretty stiff penalty. So almost never does it make sense to do an early Social Security claim while you're still working. In a lot of cases, it might make sense to fund your retirement from other sources beyond Social Security and allow that benefit to continue to grow. So don't link in your head retirement means I have to claim Social Security. It may not. And there's a bunch of tools online that allow you to help analyze your Social Security benefits. So what you can see here on the screen is that on the dark blue line, that is the scenario where in this situation, they make that Social Security claim as early as possible. You can see that scenario is in the lead. It's the optimal scenario all the way until age 77. It will be different for you depending on the different factors in your retirement plan. If we go back and we look at that light blue line, you can see that it's at 0 from age 62 to 67, where the dark blue line was growing. So at age 67, we've got some catching up to do if we're going to wait. And then just that gap continues to widen the longer your life expectancy. So again, we joke around in the office when folks ask us, when should I take Social Security? Well, tell me when you're going to die. Because at the end of the day, Social Security in most scenarios is a life expectancy question. The next age milestone that we're looking at is age 65. As many of you might know, this is the age that you now qualify for Medicare. Now, to be honest with you, this is one of the areas that I have observed can cause some of the most anxiety around retirement. It's health insurance costs. You're going to want to make sure that the enrollment process goes as smoothly as possible. So the first thing about enrollment for you to know is that your window opens up 3 months prior to the month that you turn the age of 65, and it continues to be open 3 months after the month of your 65th birthday. Real quickly, I want to run us through the A, B, C, and Ds of Medicare. So Medicare Part A is inpatient hospital care, and this is the free portion of Medicare for those who have paid into the system long enough to qualify. Medicare Part B is outpatient medical services, things like doctor visits. That portion actually has a cost associated with it, and it's $185 a month as of the year 2025, the filming of this video. Medicare Part C, so this is Medicare Advantage, supplemental type of plans. The cost for those depends on the plan that you select. And the same thing with Part D, prescription drug. The cost of that is going to depend on the plan that you select. So from a tax perspective, there's one big thing that we need to be aware of, and it's something called IRMA. IRMA stands for Income-Related Monthly Adjustment Amount. And this refers to the monthly premium that you're paying for your Medicare. So if we look at the chart here, Medicare premiums with the IRMA surcharge change based on the amount of your modified adjusted income for 2 years prior to the year that we are in. And what this means, and you can see, is that for 2025, they're going to go ahead and look at your 2023 modified adjusted gross income. So MFJ stands for married filing jointly. And you can see if you had a modified adjusted gross income of $212,000 or less, your Part B and Part D premiums will not change. They will be as advertised. But as we breach the various thresholds, as we move down that column, the Medicare Part B and Part D premiums continue to increase. This is per month, per person, if you are married filing jointly. So if we end up in that highest category, we have a really big income year, $750,000 or more for our modified adjusted gross income, we would see 2 years later an IRMA surcharge of an additional $444 per person, so $888 for a married couple per month for our Medicare costs. It's just something we want to be real aware of and certainly deliberate about if we're doing tax planning, things like Roth conversions or maybe tax gain harvesting, things like that that are adding to your income. There could be great reasons to do that from a financial planning perspective, and they might still be the right decision, but we want to make sure that when we make those calls, we know that we're going to increase those Medicare premiums when we do it. The next age milestone that we're looking at is age 67. And again, for most of us, I know not everyone will take a look at the chart, but for most of us, that's going to be full Social Security. Now, you can see that full retirement age is based on your birth year. So age 66 was everyone who was born between 1943 and 1954. And then you can see there are these awkward years in between. So 1955, if that was your birth year, your full retirement age is 66 and 2 months. And then anyone born 1960 or later, we are in that category of the new full retirement age for everyone else of age 67. So one of the big changes about age 67 from a Social Security standpoint is this is the first time that you can continue to work, you can claim your Social Security benefit, and we're not going to have that penalty or clawback on benefits for having earned income. Now, this might still not make sense from a tax perspective. If you don't need those dollars yet, they'll be taxed at a higher rate if you still have that earned income happening. But again, this is a place where we're going to want to do some deliberate financial planning to make sure when the right time to claim Social Security is for you. If you file for your Social Security benefit at age 67, that means you've probably been on Medicare for a couple of years if you got onto Medicare at age 65. If you were paying for Medicare out of your checking account before, once you file for Social Security, those premiums are just going to go ahead and be directly debited out of your monthly Social Security payment. So don't be alarmed if that first payment that you receive is maybe less than what you're expecting. I think this is actually a good thing. It's easier. It's one less thing you have to make sure is being paid on time. It just comes right out of your Social Security check. The other quick tip I have for Social Security is don't forget that you can do tax withholding on these payments. One of the biggest hassles I see for people transitioning to retirement is just how do you pay your taxes in retirement? One of the things that we can do to make things easier and avoid having to make those quarterly estimated payments is let's do federal tax withholding from our Social Security payments. So in order to do this, all you have to do is fill out, it's a really basic form. It's form W4V, and your options for federal withholding on your Social Security are 7, 10, 12, or 22%. Talk with your financial advisor, talk with your tax professional, figure out the right amount, if any, federal withholding to do for you. Make things easy and avoid those quarterly estimated payments at all costs. The next age milestone that we are looking at is age 70.5. I know it's another awkward one, age 70 and a half, but I want to give you a little bit of backstory here. So at age 70 and a half, what we have is the ability to do a QCD, so a qualified charitable distribution. The background here is that an IRA, an individual retirement account that I'm sure you're familiar with and you probably have, they were created in 1974. And at this time, RMDs became a requirement with an original age of 70 and a half. And so that's where we got these QCDs also at age 70 and a half. Well, fast forward to 2019. The Secure Act changed the required minimum distribution age to 72. Today it's 73. And by the year 2032, it's going to be 75. So that's a moving target there. But what did not change was the year that you are eligible to do a QCD, a qualified charitable distribution. So this is a big misconception. Oh, well, I can't do a QCD because I don't have an RMD quite yet. Not the case. QCDs didn't change. It's still age 70 and a half. QCD stands for Qualified Charitable Distribution, and this is a special rule that allows for direct giving from IRAs to charitable organizations, so 501c3s. Now, the big benefit here is that when a QCD leaves an IRA account and goes directly to a charitable organization, it is 100% tax-free, as opposed to a standard distribution from an IRA account being 100% taxable. So this is a huge benefit. We got a deduction when we put money into our IRA account, and now we have the ability, if we follow the QCD rules, to get it out 100% tax-free. Now, QCD never makes sense purely from a numbers perspective unless there's an intent for charitable giving. So I want to make that clear. This isn't a special rule where you're going to come out ahead by giving to charity. But if you have some charitable goals inside of your financial plan, almost always this is one of the best ways to satisfy and achieve those goals for you and your family once you hit age 70 and a half. So one of the other awesome things about a QCD is going back to our friend Irma. So when we talk about Medicare premiums and how they continue to increase as our modified adjusted income gets higher, well, QCDs are also a way to keep our modified adjusted gross income down. Because a withdrawal from a traditional IRA account is 100% taxable, that all goes into our modified adjusted gross income. So the lower that we can keep those standard IRA withdrawals and replace them with a QCD, the better your chances of not running into our friend Irma and having those Medicare premiums go higher and higher. One of the last mysteries I want to debunk about QCDs is that the amount of QCD that you can give in any given tax year has nothing to do with your required minimum distribution dollar amount. In the year 2025, you can use the QCD rule to give to charitable organizations on a tax-free basis from your traditional IRA up to $108,000 for the calendar year. All right, we've made it to our last age milestone. For now, it's going to be the age of 73, and that age is going to keep changing, as I already alluded to. So required minimum distributions is what I want to talk about. Right now, they start at the age of 73. We know that that is going to continue to change, and by the year 2032, it's actually going to be age 75. And let's remember, tax law is written in pencil. So we have to plan with the best information that we have available today, which is how the rules are currently stated. Required minimum distributions, or RMDs for short, are the amount of money that the IRS calculates that you must withdraw from your traditional retirement accounts starting in the calendar year that you turn the age of 73. Now, there is a special rule or a safety net, I like to call it, where your distribution can be postponed until April 1st of the following calendar year. Yes, I think this is a great safety net, but I want to fill you in that 99 times out of 100, this probably doesn't make sense, and here's why. Delaying that first one until April 1st of the following year doesn't allow you to do the same thing in year 2. And that means that we have to double dip and take 2 RMDs in that second year. And again, 99 times out of 100 from a tax perspective, it's not going to make sense to do that because we're going to have to stack those on top of each other. And it's more likely than not going to push you into a higher marginal income tax bracket. There are some financial planning opportunities where it could make sense. And then 9 times out of 100, I found it doesn't. Now, the way that your RMD is calculated is by using something called the Uniform Lifetime Table. So all you need to do is you take your retirement account and you take the value as of the last day of the prior year. What we then do is you match up your age with the IRS determined factor for that year. In practice, you could think about 4%. Back the napkin math, if you have $1 million in your IRA, that would be $40,000, give or take, that your RMD would be in that first year. Now, the next thing that you're going to notice is that each year that you get older, that factor continues to increase. If you have significant dollars in your traditional retirement accounts, these factors really start to make your tax bill go up later on in life. If we can do things to limit the amount of dollars that you have in traditional retirement accounts when necessary and get those into other styles of accounts, like say a Roth IRA, which is not subject to required minimum distributions, we can save pretty substantial dollars in a lot of cases, not always, but in a lot of cases, on your lifetime tax bill. And again, I'm always thinking about convenience from a tax perspective for our retired clients. Almost always the custodian where your IRA is held allows you to perform tax withholding almost always on the federal level, and in most cases at the state level as well if you live in a state with state income tax. So keep those things in mind as you are making those required minimum distributions. Be planning ahead and have that tax withheld to make sure that you're in a good tax position come April for your filing and not having to pay tax penalty for underpayment. And that wraps up our discussion on the 6 important ages that you need to know to retire and maybe even retire early. So whether you're eyeing an early retirement or planning to maximize your benefits down the line, understanding these milestone ages can make a huge difference in your financial planning. If you found this information helpful, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. By subscribing, you'll get more insightful content like this to help you navigate your retirement plan with confidence. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.